over the years, we've discussed quite a few pieces of strange media. In some cases, we've covered what people claim to be real-life found footage, like in the case of the Bitterroot film I talked about a few months back. Today's topic of discussion is similar in the sense that just like the Bitterroot footage, it claims to be found 8mm film. We're going to be talking about the supposed origins of the film itself, and then move on into an analysis of it, followed by theories and how feasible they may be. By the end of this, hopefully you'll be able to draw your own conclusions. So what exactly am I referring to? The video in question is titled 8mm footage of real-life possession and originates from a channel called Toppings of Terror who uploaded it in 2011. Toppings of Terror also has a website of the same name dedicated to the paranormal and unknown. The video runs for 2 minutes and 35 seconds and features what is claimed to be a case of demonic possession. There is very little information and context surrounding this video. The most we ever get is a text slide at the beginning that tells us the story of a family in Iowa who in 1973 had moved into a new home and found a canister of 8mm film along with audio recordings in the attic. These, of course, were presumably left behind by the home's previous owners. The upload's description offers us a little more information, stating that the father was the only member amongst the family to have ever viewed the footage as he didn't want his wife or children to see it. So as for how this footage was supposedly released to the public, on the Toppings of Terror website, a post containing the video explains everything I just told you, but also adds that the poster had been granted permission to upload the footage after it was given to him by the family via a mutual friend. Now, the important thing to note here is that nowhere in the video itself does it claim to be footage of a demonic possession. The only time we ever see that come up is in the metadata of the original and the various versions uploaded online. All we actually see in the video is footage of a man behaving in a rather strange manner. Okay, so right now you are probably screaming fake in the comment section, and yes, I agree that this is probably not footage of a demonic possession, but what we're going to do today is take both a technical and objective approach to why this footage isn't genuine. A lot of people have been saying that this isn't real because the cameraman didn't intervene, or because an actual possessed person wouldn't behave that way or be allowed to handle sharp objects. So the issue with these claims, aside from the debate about demonic possession, is that they don't take into account the lack of sufficient context surrounding this video. Without context here, there simply is no way to tell why everything you see on screen is happening, so there really isn't any way to prove or disprove anything based on the action of the person depicted. Now, what we can work with, however, is the context that this video does give us, not the metadata but the video itself. All we know about it is that they claim the footage was found in 1973 in Iowa and that it's on 8mm film. The time and location don't help us all that much, but the claim of the medium does. Now, there are obviously a ton of red flags for anyone watching this footage, no matter your experience with film, but I decided to gather some professional opinions on the matter anyway. I decided to ask Parker Wright about the clip, and for those of you who don't know, Parker has a background in both film and television and is the creator of the enigmatic viral film known as 11BX1371 and its sequels. Here's what he had to say.
The inconsistencies tell me that there were different formats being used. 8mm is a home film format, and rarely do you find so many cuts in a 2-minute clip. Since I haven't analyzed the frame rate in software, I can only speak from experience. It looks much higher than the typical 24 frames per second. At some points, it's far too smooth. The editing cuts and notes, those are usually for professional use at the beginning and end of technical cuts, and same goes for the beeps. They're never used in home recordings because they're meant for synchronizing sound and professional editing processes. Furthermore, 8mm and Super 8 are amateur formats for home recording. You wouldn't see things like beeps, cuts, and number runs after editing, since whoever edits such films would have surely removed those frames. This is especially so if they knew enough about how to synchronize sound. Projectors can run at different frame rates, but the footage speed would be altered, and even if their cameras were 48 frames per second, the footage would be seriously slow in playback because projectors run at about 16 to 24 frames per second on average.
Okay, so even without all this technical talk, it's still pretty clear that this video isn't real. Many would even say that the special effects are rather low quality and maybe even cheesy. So if this clip isn't real, what exactly is it? Whenever things like this come up, there are always a set list of common theories that arise. We're going to go through them one by one and consider how feasible they may be. Number 1, it's a hoax. Now, this is definitely within the realm of possibility, but first let's define what a hoax is. According to Google, a hoax is a humorous or malicious deception, and I think most people will agree upon that definition. The issue with automatically labeling this video a hoax is, once again, the lack of context. Calling this a hoax would imply that we're aware of the intentions behind the creation of this clip, and that simply isn't true. Yes, this could very much have been an attempt at a hoax, but unless we hear that from the creators themselves, we'll never know for sure. Number 2, it's an alternate reality game. This one is very, very unlikely, and I doubt that many people will even assume this thing is an ARG. Now, the issue with this theory is that this video behaves nothing like any other ARGs we've seen in recent memory. Most ARGs will have stuff spread throughout the web, but usually have a central point for most of its content, such as a website or YouTube channel. The thing is, this video is the only one of its kind. No follow-ups, no clues, no lead-ins to other material, just a nameless video that's been circulated around the net. Number 3, viral marketing. This is a very common theory that comes up when things like this do. Some viral anomalies have definitely turned out to be the product of a company attempting to use viral marketing to get the word out about their project, but this doesn't seem to be the case this time. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but in order for something to most likely be viral marketing, it has to be something new, something recent. This clip has existed online for at least the past 6 years now, and to this day, no one has publicly claimed it. If it was viral marketing, then whatever it was for should have already come out ages ago. So if none of these are the answer, then what is? As I said, there's really no way to tell for sure unless we can track down the creator of this clip, but if you want my opinion, however, I personally think that this could very much be either a student film or the work of an independent filmmaker just experimenting with the medium. It doesn't seem like it was meant to be some huge project made with the intent of drawing in an audience. It comes off much more like a small project that someone threw together for whatever reason that just happened to end up on the internet. Now the thing is, when it comes to student films or anything by filmmakers in general, those involved will generally put their names on the project either via metadata or opening/end credits. In this case, however, due to the nature of the project, it does make sense to leave this out. Of course, the other thing that's very important to consider here is the root source of the video in question. It seems that Toppings of Terror is in fact the source of this clip, as their version predates other existing ones online, at least as far as I've seen. Now, this does bring us back to the hoax theory because while we can't prove that they created the footage, it's quite obvious why they would be motivated to do so given the nature of their website. It is, of course, also possible that this footage was simply given to them and the story they're telling us was fabricated, not by them, but by whoever gave them the permission to publish it. This footage, albeit disturbing and actually pretty well made overall, is fake given everything we've looked at today. As for who created it and why and who's telling us the truth, that's something we won't have the answers to unless someone associated with the project decides to come forward. If any information does come up, then I'll definitely be making a follow-up video to keep you all updated. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and if you like what I do here, then consider supporting the show via Patreon. Links down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow with yet another video.